Hey guys, Double R with you, back in the garage today, working on the Camaro, trying to get the trunk pan ready to install. And I got the underneath of the deck filler pan all sanded and everything. It's all ready for a final coat of primer. And I was looking everything over and I uncovered a repair that needed to be made. I actually saw this back in the summertime when I was doing some sandblasting on the car, and I just forgot all about it. Even put the primer over it. So it's a good thing I caught it. It'd be much easier to make this repair right now versus once the trunk's actually installed in the car. I won't have as much movement around it. So let me show you the car. Yeah, that was fun, sanding all that. I still got to do a little bit more sanding on it. But I worked on it an hour or two last night. This here's the repair I was telling you about that needs to be done. And in order to be able to get to that a little bit better, I'm going to go ahead and cut part of the quarter off, this lower part of the quarter. And I don't want to get into the wheelhouse. Just want to remove what I'm going to try to do is remove the trunk drop off and this part of the quarter all as one piece. Like I said, I think I said in a previous video, I don't want to get too carried away taking all this quarter off just yet. I mean, it's all going to come off. But as you can see, I don't have the door on the car yet. I want to make sure that the door is on the car and see what kind of gap I've got as a reference here, just so I have something to go by when I get the new quarter on. Okay, got the rear lift spring out of the pocket here. And I went ahead and did them both because got to thinking about it. Once this thing come loose, I could see that it was going to start trying to twist and everything. So I didn't want to twist these rails, especially without, you know, the way they are right now. They're just kind of out here in the open. So my wife said, you know, you've actually made this car worse. The reason I chose that cutoff wheels, I could just rip this thing off of here really, but I want to try to save it in case I need to, when I get to putting the trunk back in, I know about where it goes, so I mean I don't really want to deform it right now. This car's been to the beach. Let's see here. just need a deeper cutoff wheel to get in there on the trunk drop off is what's got it. I got an air hammer that I really like to use when taking off sheet metal. But like I said, I'm trying to save this thing to a point. Just in case I need it as a reference once I get the trunk pan back in the car. Other than that, I put that blade on it and a done deal. I actually took the trunk out in pieces with that air hammer. All right, guys, let's take a look at the car. All right, here's a good look at it. I got some better light, I hope. All right, guys, we made it to March the 1st. Spring is on the way. Double R with you, back out in the garage today, Sunday, after church. Got out here, put a little time into the car, and I've been working on getting that shackle repaired, welding it up, had to grind down all that old weld. And the more I got into it and got to looking at it, it looked like just the weld itself was deteriorated. So it looked like it wasn't a very good weld to begin with. So I think that may have been the problem. It was very porous and everything, had a lot of holes in it. So it didn't really look like a lot of rust. It may have just been the weld itself. But anyway, let's check the car out. I had a little trouble getting that to weld at first. I didn't really have anything to practice by. Usually when I go to weld, I'll take, the same thickness of metal and practice, but I really didn't have anything that was kind of anything close to whatever size this is versus this. And I just had to go by the sound of the welder, and I finally got it dialed in to where I could weld it. And overall, it came out pretty good. Pretty happy with the results of it. I had a few little voids in this area, and I don't know if it was just a little bit of dirt or whatever, but had to go back and re-weld this part 2 or 3 times. And as you can see, I just barely got just a few little places there, but it should be fine. Now this is a little bit different than the other side. The factory come in and just welded a bead right in here, and then there's part of the actual, I don't know what you call this thing. It's more like a pipe to me, but part of the pipe, actually sleeve, I guess you could call it, sort of sticks out. Let's take a look at the other side. That's kind of the way this other side looks. So what I might end up doing is I might just go ahead and clean that side up and re-weld it as well. That way it matches the other side. I could probably take a Ziz wheel, cut off wheel, and cut a groove in that to make it match this side, but I think it looks so much cleaner on the side that I welded, so I'll just make it match over here and call it good. The next thing on the project is going to be basically the duplicate, the same thing over here. Cut this quarter off about right in same area, and fix this shackle here. And then also I've got my markings here, I've got my measurements for where the trim studs go, and you can see I've got this tape laid out. And what I'm going to do, let me see if I can get you a shot of that rust up in there. You can see how bad that's rusted up there, and there's some holes in there that's going through the other side. And what I want to do is cut this area out right here and go ahead and make this piece and weld it in, weld it to my deck filler panel, and then I'm going to come over here and weld this side in. And what that's going to allow me to do, I do believe, is going to allow me to put the trunk springs back on the car. And once I get the trunk springs back on the car, I'll go ahead and put the deck lid back on the car and go ahead and get it matched up to the best I can with the quarters and the way they are now. And then at that point, I'll get back to putting the pan in the trunk, and then we'll skin the doors, and then we'll be ready to cut the quarters off. So you guys stay tuned for that. 265 Chevy was asking me about this curtain that I had here in the back. So the curtain is hung up on my airline coming across here, and I just taped it together with both sides with that Gorilla tape. My airline actually comes into this garage from actually another building. That's where the compressor is located. I've got a little outbuilding that sits just adjacent to the garage, and I've got a line buried to it. It comes up, and I've got a main pressure gauge there, and then it actually goes up to this LVL beam and comes across, and I punched holes in this tarp and hung it from that. So you're probably wondering, what in the world is this? That's part of the garage door, and that'll make more sense when we get on the other side of this curtain. So let's walk around there and I'll show you that. I put this curtain up as a divider for when I paint, and I've got it pretty long, laying there on the floor. You can see the overspray where I paint. And I put this same type of material down on the whole floor when I paint. And I usually leave it down most of the summer. And then there, late fall, I'll go ahead and take it up, clean the floor up. I'm not really set up to paint in the wintertime. But I've got like a little door here that leads me into the other part of the garage. Now this is actually a weird building. It's actually set up on an angle. So, and you can see how the door, hopefully I'm standing back far enough, you can see how it's on an angle. Right here's the part that we just came in. But there's the garage door. And then got some shelves there. But that's the curtain right there. And it works so well for painting that I had it up when I was just starting to heat the garage back in the fall, and it worked so well for that, I just decided to leave it up. There was really no sense in heating this part of the shop. This here is a man door that goes outside. I'll try to show you the front side of the garage maybe to make a little bit more sense here. Like I said, this part of the garage is built on an angle to make it actually flow with the driveway. So that's the original part of the garage, and then this addition, I turned it on an angle. So and that's why that door raises up so funny. But I kind of didn't realize it was going to be like that. I wish it wasn't. But I don't know much about building. But what I thought was going to happen is when they set my trusses, I thought each truss was going to be its own length, and it would run from the back wall to this front wall. But they said it would cost me a fortune to do it that way. So what they did, they built this beam, and all my trusses rest on it, and then they hand built the rest of the trusses to this front wall, and there's another beam in here that houses all the weight, you know, distributes all the weight to this front wall. Really not a lot of weight on this front wall. As a matter of fact, I got a 14-foot door here, a 36-inch man door, and when we first built it, I could grab these 2x4s in here and I could really shake this whole wall. And the building inspector told me that if I'd build these shelves, that it would build them structural, build them into the walls, that it would really strengthen everything up, and it did. This is all built out of, I don't remember what size plyboard, but it's at least ½ inch, maybe more than that, and 2x6 or 2x8, I don't remember, but looked like 2x8 maybe, I don't know. But anyway, it's all the movement was in this corner. This is a weird building, but like I said, it flows with the driveway, and that's the reason for the curtain too. I had priced this. I had priced a sliding curtain, Golf's curtains, I believe it is, and I just can't afford it right now. I hope to still be able to put one up. I think I wanted $800 for one that would slide across, and then I give them the measurements, and I was going to have basically 2 tracks that I could separate, and then I was either going to have them do magnets. I didn't really want to fool with the zipper. I was thinking Velcro or magnets. I like the idea of the magnets built into the curtain, and then I could just close it that way. I could have almost, if they'd have done it the way that I was thinking they were going to do it with the individual trusses, I could have had a high lift door, and the door would have just came up at an angle and followed the rest of the trusses. But this is the way they did it, and I didn't really know any better until it was pretty much set. So, and I guess it all worked out anyway. So, but that's the curtain in front of the garage there. This is a tonneau cover that goes on my truck. I took it off about just before last year, and this is a project that I hope to get back on probably as soon as the weather breaks. My wife wants us back on the truck for vacation, so stay tuned for that project. Like I said, that's going to be a whole nother video right there. So there'll probably be several on that. So that thing is wavy. It's going to be a lot of blocking to get that thing straight. I've been gathering supplies for it and just trying to get everything that I need. I can't believe how expensive some of this paint stuff is. But I don't have any of it, so that's what I told my wife. She said, how much does a cover cost to buy? Because we really spent a lot of money on some materials, but some of the materials I'll have left over, like rolls of sandpaper that I bought and everything, and I'll have that left over to work on Project Overkill here. But when you start buying those materials like that, and just a roll of sandpaper there cost you a fortune. you need several grits and everything. So anyway, guys, that's what's going on in the Double R Restoration Shop. I want to thank everybody for watching my videos and commenting. Please comment and let me know what you think. And I'll try to get this other side done. Maybe get some more footage this week. And until then, hope everybody has a good week. And we'll talk to y'all later.